Ladies, let's get real for a moment. Your time, love, and energy are priceless. Yet too often we find ourselves caught up in situations where we give everything only to realize we're being played. It's painful, it's frustrating, but most of all, it's not what you deserve. You deserve a love that is honest, a connection that is real, and a partner who values you for who you are, not just for what you can offer. But how do you know if he's truly invested or just stringing you along? Today, I'm going to share 6 clear signs that a man is just playing you, because once you recognize the red flags, you can take back your power and walk away with confidence. It's time to stop settling for less and start demanding the love and respect you truly deserve. When a man is inconsistent in his efforts toward you, it often reveals a lack of genuine commitment or emotional investment. In the beginning, he may shower you with attention, making you feel like the most important person in his life. He sends good morning texts, calls you frequently, makes plans, and seems genuinely interested in your thoughts and feelings. This initial enthusiasm can feel intoxicating, leaving you hopeful about the potential of the relationship. But then suddenly his energy shifts, the texts become infrequent, the calls diminish, and the plans you once looked forward to are now uncertain or canceled at the last minute. This inconsistency can be confusing, especially if he still reaches out occasionally with charm and affection. One day he makes you feel special, and the next he seems distant, offering vague excuses about being busy or dealing with things. The problem is not that he has a busy life, everyone does, but rather that he makes no real effort to include you in it. A man who truly values you will prioritize you no matter how hectic his schedule may be. His inconsistency reveals that he is only available when it suits him, and when it doesn't, he disappears without explanation. You might find yourself questioning whether you did something wrong. Maybe you said too much, cared too deeply, or showed too much interest. You start analyzing every conversation, every text exchange, every interaction, trying to pinpoint where things might have shifted. But the truth is, the problem is not you, it's his lack of consistency. A man who is truly invested does not fluctuate in his treatment of you. He does not disappear for days only to return with sweet words that temporarily make you forget his absence. When a man is inconsistent, he keeps you in a state of emotional limbo. You never know when he will show up or when he will withdraw. This unpredictability creates an emotional roller coaster, leaving you feeling elated one moment and anxious the next. You may start excusing his behavior, convincing yourself that he just needs space, that he's dealing with personal issues, or that he will eventually come around. But in reality, his inconsistency is a pattern, not a phase. It is a deliberate tactic, whether conscious or not, to keep you invested while he puts in the bare minimum. Inconsistency often manifests in his communication. At first, he might text you all day, responding immediately and initiating conversations. But over time, the responses take longer. The enthusiasm fades, and the conversations become less meaningful. You might notice that he only texts late at night or when he's bored. He no longer asks about your day, your dreams, or your feelings. When you try to bring it up, he either deflects, makes excuses, or dismisses your concerns as overthinking. Beyond communication, his inconsistency shows in how he makes or avoids making plans. In the beginning, he may have been excited to see you, actively making dates and following through, but now plans are vague. He says he'll let you know or see how things go. He might cancel at the last minute with an excuse that seems valid but feels repetitive. When a man truly cares, he follows through on his words. He does not keep you waiting, wondering if he will actually show up. You may also notice that his effort depends on his mood, convenience, or personal circumstances. If he needs attention, validation, or companionship, he reaches out and acts affectionate. If he is occupied with something else, whether it's work, friends, or other women, he pulls away without a second thought. This on and off dynamic keeps you emotionally hooked because just when you start to detach, he returns with just enough affection to keep you engaged. This pattern creates a cycle where you find yourself holding on to the moments he is attentive, hoping they will last, even though history has shown they won't. Another sign of inconsistency is how he interacts with you in different settings. When it's just the two of you, he might be sweet, engaging, and affectionate. But in public or around others, his behavior shifts. He may act distant, avoiding any display of closeness, or he may even ignore you entirely. You find yourself questioning whether you are important to him at all. A man who genuinely cares about you will treat you with the same warmth and respect regardless of the setting. He will not act one way in private and another in public. Inconsistency can also be emotional. One day he shares personal stories, making you feel like you're building a deep connection. The next he shuts down, acting as if that moment never happened. He might be affectionate one day, telling you how much he enjoys your company, and then cold and detached the next, leaving you wondering what changed. This kind of emotional whiplash is draining and creates insecurity, making you constantly seek reassurance from someone who refuses to provide it. This behavior often extends to social media. In the beginning, he might have engaged with your posts, liked your pictures, or even commented. But now he avoids acknowledging you online altogether. He might be active on social media, posting regularly, but he never responds to your messages or interacts with you publicly. This selective engagement is a red flag, indicating that he does not want to be seen as too involved with you. If you try to address his inconsistency, he may gaslight you, making you feel like you're overreacting. He may say things like, "I've just been busy," or "You're reading too much into it." He deflects responsibility and shifts the blame onto you, making you feel like the problem is your expectations rather than his lack of effort. A man who truly values you will acknowledge your feelings and make an effort to improve his behavior. You may notice that his inconsistency is not limited to you, it extends to other areas of his life. He may be unreliable with his friends, inconsistent in his career, or non-committal about his future. A man's character is reflected in his actions, and if he is inconsistent with you, chances are he is the same way in other relationships. Deep down, you know when someone is not treating you the way you deserve, but when feelings are involved, it is easy to ignore the warning signs and hold on to hope. You convince yourself that things will change, that he will realize your worth, and that the inconsistency will disappear. But the truth is, a man who is genuinely interested in you will not make you question his intentions. His effort will be steady, his actions will align with his words, and his presence in your life will feel secure rather than uncertain. A man who truly values you will not leave you questioning where you stand in his life. When he is serious about you, he will make his intentions clear, communicate openly, and take steps to build a future together. However, when a man lacks commitment, he keeps things vague, avoids defining the relationship, and leaves you feeling uncertain about where things are headed. This lack of clarity is not an accident. It is a deliberate choice to keep his options open while keeping you emotionally invested. At first, he may seem interested in something serious. He spends time with you, engages in deep conversations, and creates moments that feel meaningful. But when the topic of commitment comes up, he becomes evasive. He may say things like, "Let's just go with the flow," or "I don't like labels." He avoids discussing the future, shifting the conversation whenever you try to gain clarity. His words may seem reasonable on the surface, but deep down you feel a growing sense of uncertainty. His actions do not match his words. He might treat you like a girlfriend, calling you often, making plans, and being affectionate, but when you ask for clarity, he pulls back. He enjoys the benefits of a relationship without the responsibility that comes with it. When you express your feelings, he downplays your concerns or accuses you of rushing things. He convinces you that the connection is special, yet he refuses to define it. You may notice that he keeps things casual even when significant time has passed. Months go by and he still introduces you as just a friend or avoids introducing you to important people in his life. If you bring it up, he gives vague excuses, saying he is not ready or that labels ruin relationships. His hesitation is not because he needs more time, it is because he does not intend to commit. He enjoys the connection, but does not want the responsibility that comes with being in an exclusive relationship. Inconsistent communication is another sign of his lack of commitment. He reaches out when it suits him, but when you need reassurance, he is unavailable. He may be present when it is convenient, but distant when emotions become involved. He avoids discussing feelings, preferring to keep things light and fun. If he senses that you are becoming emotionally invested, he creates distance, only to return when he feels the connection fading. His social life reflects his reluctance to commit. He may keep you separate from his world, avoiding public acknowledgement of your relationship. When you are together, he acts engaged and interested, but in social settings, he treats you like just another acquaintance. He does not post about you on social media, introduce you to his close friends, or include you in significant events. If you question it, he gives excuses about valuing privacy or not wanting to complicate things. The truth is, a man who sees a future with you will be proud to include you in his life, not hide you from it. He may also keep his options open, talking to other women while keeping you emotionally invested. He avoids exclusivity, claiming he is not ready for a serious relationship, yet he does not let you go either. He enjoys the attention, affection, and companionship you provide, but does not want to fully commit. He may flirt with others, keep dating apps active, or maintain connections with past partners. When confronted, he reassures you that those interactions mean nothing, yet he refuses to be exclusive with you. His commitment issues extend to making plans for the future. When you talk about goals, travel plans, or major life decisions, he remains vague. He does not include you in his long-term vision, nor does he make an effort to plan things beyond the immediate future. A man who is serious about you will naturally think about how you fit into his life long-term. If he avoids discussing the future, it is a sign that he does not see you as a permanent part of it. Another red flag is his reaction when you try to define the relationship. Instead of providing clarity, he becomes defensive or dismissive. He may accuse you of pressuring him or make you feel guilty for wanting a commitment. He shifts the responsibility onto you, suggesting that you should be more patient or less demanding. This tactic keeps you in a state of waiting, hoping that he will eventually change his mind. But in reality, he is keeping the relationship undefined because it benefits him, not because he is uncertain about his feelings. You may also notice that he is emotionally unavailable. While he may share surface-level details about his life, he avoids deep emotional conversations. He does not open up about his fears, struggles, or dreams. And when you try to connect on a deeper level, he pulls away. Emotional intimacy requires vulnerability, and a man who is unwilling to commit will avoid developing a deeper emotional bond. He prefers to keep things on a comfortable, casual level where he does not have to invest too much of himself. His behavior creates confusion because he does not completely distance himself, yet he does not fully commit either. He may be affectionate one moment and distant the next. He may say he cares about you, but avoid making any real promises. This push and pull dynamic keeps you emotionally hooked, always wondering where you stand. You find yourself holding on to the moments he shows interest, hoping they mean something, even though his overall behavior suggests otherwise. Over time, his lack of commitment starts to affect your self-worth. You begin to question whether you are asking for too much or whether you need to change to fit his expectations. You start rationalizing his behavior, telling yourself that he just needs more time or that you can convince him to commit. But deep down you feel the uncertainty, the anxiety, and the exhaustion of being in a situation where you are never sure of your place in his life. A man who values you will not make you feel like you have to beg for commitment. He will not string you along, keep you guessing, or make you feel like you are asking for too much. He will be clear about his intentions and take steps to build a relationship with you. Commitment is not something that needs to be forced. It is something that happens naturally when someone genuinely cares. If a man truly wants to be with you, he will not make you question it. Emotional unavailability is one of the clearest signs that a man is not truly invested in a relationship. It can be difficult to recognize at first because emotionally unavailable men often appear charming, engaging, and even affectionate in the early stages. They might seem interested in your life, ask you questions, and make you feel special. However, as time passes, you start to notice that your conversations remain surface level, and any attempt to deepen the emotional connection is met with avoidance or discomfort. When a man is emotionally unavailable, he keeps a wall around his true thoughts and feelings. He might be fun to be around and make you laugh, but when you try to have a meaningful conversation about emotions, dreams, or fears, he deflects. He avoids talking about past experiences, his childhood, or any event that requires vulnerability. When you share your own feelings, he listens passively but does not reciprocate. You start to feel like you are the only one opening up, while he remains distant and guarded. This kind of behavior creates an imbalance in the relationship. You feel emotionally invested, but he remains detached. You find yourself trying harder to connect, hoping that if you just say the right words or create the right moment, he will finally open up. But no matter how much effort you put in, he continues to keep his emotions at arm's length. Conversations about the future, serious topics, or personal struggles are either avoided or turned into jokes. He may even say things like, "I don't like talking about emotions," or "I just deal with things on my own." While it is true that some people struggle to express emotions easily, a man who cares about you will make an effort to let you in, even if it is difficult for him. Another sign of emotional unavailability is his reaction to conflict. When a man is emotionally invested in a relationship, he will be willing to work through disagreements, listen to your concerns, and find solutions together. However, an emotionally unavailable man avoids conflict at all costs. If you bring up something that bothers you, he either dismisses your feelings, changes the subject, or withdraws completely. He might accuse you of overreacting, tell you that you are being too sensitive, or act like the problem does not exist. Instead of resolving issues, he prefers to ignore them, hoping they will go away on their own. You may also notice that he does not check in on your emotions or well-being. A caring partner will ask how you are feeling, notice when you are upset, and offer comfort when you need it. But an emotionally unavailable man does not engage in these kinds of interactions. If you are having a bad day, he may offer a quick, generic response like, "That sucks," or "Hope you feel better," but will not dive deeper or provide meaningful support. If you express sadness or frustration, he may seem indifferent or even irritated. Instead of making you feel heard and understood, his lack of emotional presence makes you feel even more alone. In many cases, emotionally unavailable men have a history of failed relationships or patterns of avoiding commitment. If he has a past filled with short-term relationships, casual flings, or situations where he suddenly pulled away when things got serious, it is likely that he struggles with emotional intimacy. He may talk about past relationships in a way that places all the blame on his exes, saying things like, "She was too clingy," or "I just don't do drama." While it is true that some relationships are unhealthy, A pattern of avoiding emotional depth suggests that he does not want to fully invest himself in a partner. Another sign is his reluctance to express affection beyond physical attraction. He may be physically affectionate, enjoying hugs, kisses, and intimacy, but he avoids verbal expressions of love or deep emotional moments. He may enjoy spending time with you, but avoid discussing what you truly mean to him. If you say something heartfelt like, "I really appreciate having you in my life," he might respond with a joke or change the subject, instead of reciprocating the sentiment. His avoidance of emotional conversations is not because he does not understand them, it is because he does not want to engage in them. Emotional unavailability often leads to inconsistent behavior. One day he might be affectionate and engaging, making you feel special, and the next he withdraws without explanation. You start to feel like you are walking on eggshells, unsure of which version of him you will get. This inconsistency keeps you in a cycle of emotional highs and lows. When he is present, you feel hopeful that he is finally letting you in, but when he pulls away, you feel confused and rejected. Over time, this pattern becomes exhausting because you never feel truly secure in the relationship. You might also notice that he avoids making emotional investments in your life. The caring partner will show interest in your passions, support your goals, and celebrate your successes. But an emotionally unavailable man remains detached. He does not ask about your dreams, avoids conversations about your struggles, and does not seem genuinely excited about your achievements. If you accomplish something important, he may offer a brief, "That's cool," but will not share in your excitement or ask about the details. This lack of emotional involvement makes you feel like he is just a spectator in your life rather than a true partner. Another common trait of emotionally unavailable men is their tendency to focus on surface-level activities rather than deep emotional connection. He might enjoy going out, having fun, and spending time together in ways that do not require serious conversation. He prefers lighthearted moments, avoiding situations that require vulnerability. If you try to discuss something serious, he may respond with humor, sarcasm, or a change of topic. While laughter and fun are important in a relationship, true intimacy requires more than just shared activities. It requires emotional presence and vulnerability. When you try to express your need for deeper emotional connection, he may make you feel like you are asking for too much. He might say things like, "I'm just not that emotional," or "This is just how I am." Instead of making an effort to grow and improve the relationship, he expects you to accept his emotional detachment. He may even suggest that you are being too needy or sensitive, shifting the blame onto you rather than acknowledging his own emotional limitations. A man who is emotionally unavailable does not prioritize your emotional well-being. He does not offer reassurance when you need it, does not engage in meaningful conversations, and does not make an effort to deepen the bond between you. While he may enjoy the companionship, he does not fully invest himself in the relationship. This emotional distance leaves you feeling unsatisfied, questioning whether you are truly valued. Over time, you begin to realize that no matter how much effort you put into the relationship, it always feels one-sided. You give emotional energy, support, and understanding, but receive little in return. You try to create moments of closeness, but they are short-lived because you does not fully open up. The lack of emotional depth becomes increasingly frustrating, and you start to wonder if he will ever truly connect with you on a deeper level. When a man is self-centered in a relationship, his actions consistently prioritize his own needs, desires, and convenience over yours. At first, he may seem charming, confident, and engaging, but over time, you begin to notice that everything revolves around him. His plans take precedence, his opinions dominate conversations, and his comfort is always the priority. When you express your thoughts, feelings, or needs, they are either dismissed, minimized, or ignored altogether. A self-centered man expects you to accommodate his schedule, preferences, and lifestyle while making little to no effort to consider yours. He rarely compromises and often assumes that you will adjust to whatever he wants. If you have plans, he expects you to change them. If he suddenly wants to see you, if he cancels on you last minute, he expects you to understand. But if you need to reschedule, he makes you feel guilty for being unreliable. The relationship operates on his terms, and he subtly or blatantly expects you to fit into his world without making any real effort to meet you halfway. Conversations with a self-centered man are often one-sided. He enjoys talking about himself, his interests, experiences, problems, and achievements. But when the topic shifts to you, his engagement fades. He may listen briefly, but quickly steer the conversation back to himself. If you share something important or emotional, he may act disinterested, give a generic response, or use your vulnerability as an opportunity to bring up his own struggles instead. Instead of being a supportive and present partner, he turns everything into a way to center himself in the discussion. When a man prioritizes himself over the relationship, he rarely considers your feelings in decision-making. He makes plans without consulting you, expects you to go along with his choices, and does not take your opinion seriously. If you disagree with something, he either dismisses your concerns or acts as if you are overreacting. In arguments, he refuses to take accountability, shifting the blame onto you instead. He may twist the situation to make you feel guilty, claiming that you are too demanding, too emotional, or not understanding enough of his needs. This manipulation keeps you in a cycle of constantly trying to accommodate him while neglecting your own needs. His self-centered nature also shows in the effort he puts into the relationship. He may expect you to plan dates, initiate conversations, and put in emotional labor while he passively receives your attention. He enjoys the benefits of your love and support, but does not reciprocate in meaningful ways. He might put in effort occasionally, but only when it is convenient for him, or when he fears losing you. His affection and attention come in waves, often disappearing once he feels secure that you are still invested in him. When it comes to problem solving in the relationship, he rarely takes responsibility. If you bring up an issue, he either downplays it or makes excuses for his behavior. He does not apologize sincerely, and if he does, it is often just to end the conversation rather than to make real changes. If you express disappointment in something he did, he turns the situation around, making himself the victim and making you feel like the unreasonable one. Instead of trying to understand your feelings, he focuses on defending himself or avoiding the topic entirely. His self-centered nature extends beyond emotional interactions and into practical aspects of the relationship. He expects you to put in effort to make him comfortable, whether it is through cooking, cleaning, planning special moments, or simply adjusting to his lifestyle. When you do these things, he takes them for granted, rarely expressing gratitude or reciprocating. If you stop putting in the effort, he may complain that you have changed or are not as caring as you used to be, failing to recognize that relationships require mutual effort. In social settings, he expects attention and validation. He enjoys being the center of attention, whether it is through humor, storytelling, or drawing admiration from others. If you receive attention or recognition, he may downplay your achievements, make a dismissive comment, or try to shift the focus back to himself. He struggles to celebrate your successes because he is too preoccupied with his own self-image. Instead of supporting you, he either ignores your accomplishments or finds a way to make them about himself. Another sign of his self-centered nature is how he handles your emotions. If you are going through something difficult, he may show little empathy or make the situation about how your mood affects him. Instead of offering comfort or reassurance, he might say things like, I don't like it when you're upset, or you're bringing down the mood. Rather than acknowledging your pain, he focuses on how it inconveniences him. If he does provide support, it is usually superficial and short-lived, as he quickly grows impatient with emotional depth that does not center around him. A self-centered man often has unrealistic expectations in a relationship. He wants love, attention, and devotion, but does not believe he should have to put in equal effort. He expects you to be patient and understanding when he falls short, but he is unwilling to extend the same grace to you. If he makes a mistake, he wants instant forgiveness, but if you make a mistake, he holds on to it or uses it against you later. He has a double standard in how he believes love should be expressed, expecting unconditional support from you while giving only minimal effort in return. He also struggles with making sacrifices for the relationship. If something requires him to step outside of his comfort zone or inconvenience himself for your sake, he resists. Whether it is attending an event that matters to you, adjusting his schedule to accommodate your needs, or making compromises in daily life, he avoids doing anything that does not directly benefit him. He expects you to sacrifice for him, but does not see why he should do the same. When it comes to future planning, he is either vague or only considers himself. He may talk about his dreams and aspirations, but does not include you in them. If you try to discuss long-term plans as a couple, he avoids the topic or responds in a way that keeps things uncertain. He wants the present benefits of a relationship without having to consider the responsibilities or commitments that come with it. His reluctance to plan a future together is not because he is unsure of what he wants. It is because he is more focused on his own path than on building something with you. His selfish nature is evident in how he treats people beyond the relationship as well. If he is dismissive, impatient, or rude to service workers, friends, or family members, it is a reflection of his overall mindset. He prioritizes his own comfort over showing kindness and respect to others. If he only treats people well when he wants something from them, it is a sign that his generosity and affection are conditional. Even with you, you may find yourself feeling emotionally drained from constantly giving without receiving the same level of care in return. Over time, his self-centered behavior starts to erode your sense of self-worth. You begin to feel like your needs are secondary, and you may even start questioning whether you are being too demanding. You make excuses for his behavior, telling yourself that he just needs more time to change, that he does love you in his own way, or that if you just adjust your expectations, things will improve. His self-centeredness creates a dynamic where you are always giving, always adjusting, and always trying to earn his love and attention, while he simply takes without reciprocating in a meaningful way. The relationship feels unbalanced, with you constantly making sacrifices to keep things together while he remains indifferent to your efforts. The reality is that love should never feel this one-sided. A relationship should be built on mutual effort, respect, and emotional investment, not on one person constantly giving while the other only takes.